Welcome back. The issues surrounding our rail system are front and center, but transit by bus serves nearly as many riders. The Metropolitan Area Planning Council's State of Equity report estimates that Black bus riders spend on average 64 more hours per year aboard MBTA buses when compared to their fellow white passengers. And T General Manager Philip Ng is continuing with us this afternoon. So let's talk about the 28 bus. It carries more passengers than any other bus in New England. This serves the Blue Hill Avenue corridor and takes essential employees to the Longwood Medical area. Mayor Wu's free fare pilot program along bus routes 23, 28, and 29 ends on February 29th. How has the pilot impacted your service?
Well, I will say this, the partnership with the city and the mayor has been phenomenal. Look forward to continuing conversations with regard to that program. I know they're very interested in extending it, and we're working very closely with the city on that. And it's an important thing for all of our riders, those corridors as well, to know that we're very looking forward to see how we can make not only equitable but affordable transportation for the riders, because that goes hand in hand with the ability to have the quality of life that folks want to have and the ability to live and play in the Commonwealth.
Now, the governor promised in her State of the Commonwealth address to fund permanent reduced fares for low-income riders. Do you anticipate that this program is going to become real in the future?
Well, the governor spoke about it at the State of the State.
Yeah.
I was very excited when I saw that as part of a proposal when I first got here, and the legislature funded the T to have the ability to review this. And we're excited on fulfilling that commitment for the governor and for the public that really deserves and needs the ability to have mass transportation as an option and an affordable option.
Let me ask you, this past summer, of course, the MBTA was an essential part of the Ditch the Drive campaign during the summer tunnel closures. Everybody was just freaking out. And this really highlighted the need in growing cities like Chelsea, Everett, Revere, that need expanded, reliable bus transport. Tell us about the work being done to provide equitable service in these cities.
Well, bus is a big part of our system. It carries probably about 30% of our ridership. And it also is, I think, a very big connection to areas that don't have transportation on rails. And it provides a very important component to giving people options on how to get about. As far as the ability to better serve the Better Bus Network program that we're working at is working with the different areas to see how we can have more reliable buses, more frequent buses, and have priority lanes for buses. And that's all goes hand in hand with making it a viable option. We're really excited about where bus transportation can go as part of our whole system. And it really is important to the folks that do rely on it. I ride it frequently with many folks.
And we just saw you on the T a few moments ago. Yeah.
So it is something that we know we can improve. We're hiring a tremendous amount of bus operators. Just 2 Mondays ago, our biggest class of new hires, building off of what we've done last year.
How many did you hire?
140 new hires on that one day. 100 of them were bus operators. So it's continuing to show that when we reward our employees and we give them the support that we need, people want to come back and work for the T. I heard years ago we were the premier place to work.
Yes, indeed.
And I believe it's happening again.
Okay, we talked about quality of life. You know, transportation also is very closely tied to economic prosperity. Nubian Square in Roxbury is being revitalized with the building of the Benjamin Franklin Institute there, other developments in the works. There's an effort to make it a destination for life sciences and biotech. So how does the MBTA plan to grow alongside this particular development, and in particular with the Silver Line?
Well, I actually had an opportunity to go to Newbury Market just a month or two ago. Director Smart, part of our MBTA board member, we went there. I went to the market with her. I had an opportunity to see how we took parcels of land that the T had owned and had the ability to help communities grow and change And that Newbury market, you could see the vibrancy, you could see the diversity, and it was an exciting thing for me to be able to see not only how improving Silver Line bus service and other bus service can be, but all the connectivity of those different options. The Mattapan line's not far away, and you could see businesses and how it really does change quality of life in these different communities.
So this is another opportunity, as you said a few moments ago, to participate in the planning of the area.
Yes.
Yes.
It's one where I've seen when transportation agencies are at the end of the planning, it's not as well as when we're in the beginning. So those early dialogues to just put things on the table and just explore ideas is important because, again, developers need to know if they're going to invest that the success of their development is tied to so many components.
And the infrastructure has to be there for transportation.
Has to be.
Has to be there. Recently reported that the majority of T-shelters along the D line in Newton and Brookline had fully working heat lamps. Let me ask you about this. But in Roxbury, the Silver Line shelters along Washington Street do not work. What's behind that, what appears to be an obvious disparity?
Well, I will say this. When I read that story, I had my team, my head of stations, take a look into that. I believe, if you follow up now, most of them are working. It was one where we just need to make sure that our station folks and our maintenance folks are focused on these types of things, particularly during winter months. I've noticed in certain areas where there's no heat lamps that those are types of things that we should be looking to do.
Sure. But
and particularly where these were not working, that disparity is not right.
Sure.
And I wanted to make sure that not only are they functioning again, but that we continue to make sure that they stay functioning.
And I guess the underlying issue is for the maintenance workers not to prioritize one community over the other, which I'm sure you spoke to.
We serve the entire Commonwealth, and we need to treat everyone fairly, appropriately, and that's my goal, to make sure that we are not favoring one community over the other. Now, we have competing challenges, but that doesn't mean that the maintenance that needs to be done to keep them functioning shouldn't be done.
Heavy rain and high tides causing issues in the stations, on the tracks. What plans are in the works to protect the system against extreme weather events? We've seen quite a few of them recently.
Yes, in fact, this recent rainstorm, rain event that we had over at Aquarium Station, I'm proud of the fact that we've worked on preventive measures. We have these flood walls that we put up right around the head house at Aquarium, and they actually resulted in preventing the water from flowing into the system. At the same time, as we do new designs, but as we do maintenance, we need to make sure that we're focused on building smarter, building better. Climate change is real. These 50-year storms, 100-year storms, they're happening every year now, right?
5-year storms every
and they're
5 months.
becoming not only more frequent, they're becoming more severe. So it is a real thing. We're focused on it. We're looking at also doing our part with air quality, procuring battery electric buses. We are looking at seeing how we can continue to improve and get people out of their cars and get them onto our system. It's all tied to this, but we have to build smarter and better, and we're going to do our part in that.
All right, so when we come back, we have a few questions for you on the lighter side. We're going to ask the MBTA General Manager to answer in 5 words or less. That's next.